morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is really, it's about the profile in BNI Connect and all the great things that your profile can do for you. Today's webinar is actually part of a 5-part series on BNI Connect that we're going to go through over the next week and a half or so. Today we're going to start out with how to fill out your profile. For example, tomorrow we're going to talk about the online slips in BNI Connect and how to pass referrals in BNI Connect. On Wednesday we're going to talk about the social media aspects of BNI Connect and how to connect with other people worldwide. Next week, we're going to talk about the member tools and reports. We're going to take a deep dive into BNI Connect, and we're going to round it all off with next Wednesday, we're going to talk about the visitor process and how to invite visitors to your chapter and how to follow up with them afterwards. Before I get started, just a couple of housekeeping tips while people are still logging into the webinar. First of which is that this is a live webinar, of course, unless you're listening to the recording. But for those of you that are here live today, what that means is that you guys can ask questions as we're going through the material, or at the end, I will be happy to stay on this webinar until every single question has been answered. The best way to ask those questions is to please type your question in to the questions panel. That'll make it pop up on my screen. I'll be able to respond to that question right away, or if it's something completely and totally unrelated to what we're covering today, that's perfectly fine. I'm happy to answer any question about BNI Connect. Just type it in and I will answer that one at the end. We're also going to be recording this webinar. We're going to be hosting it in a couple of different places. You can always find it on our support site. You get to the support site by clicking on the question mark in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect. You can also log into our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. And Brad Green is here with us today. He just typed in a question. This is a test to make sure it was working. So Brad, I did get your test, and when you guys are ready with questions, I'll be happy to take those. So we're scheduled for about 30 minutes of content. It takes about 30 minutes to go through the material today. Now, it is not going to be a big, long PowerPoint. I promise you. We're actually going to dive into BNI Connect. If you happen to be on a system that has a dual screen monitor or something like that, I encourage you to play along so that you can follow along and do whatever it is that we're doing on your computer as well. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, before we get into the actual profile portion of BNI Connect, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a background. Now, BNI Connect is it is the tool that the entire BNI world uses, and it encompasses a whole lot of stuff. So, first of all, right now, if we were to pull and look at the drop-down list in BNI Connect, we're in about 72 countries. Now, of those 72 countries, BNI has members in about 64, 65 countries, and we're still starting up a couple of countries as well, but there's 72 countries in the drop-down list. There's about 948 regions, so I happen to, by the way, I am a member. I am a member here in the Rhode Island region, where I've been a member since 2002. I'm also a director consultant here. But my region, which happens to be Rhode Island, there's about 948 of those regions around the world with about 7,000 chapters in them. Now, if you think about that, that's over 7,000 chapters that are meeting on a weekly basis around the world. There's about 200, we just crossed the 200,000 member mark. That's a lot of data. This is a big system, and every single one of those members is here in BNI Connect. So that means that you have access from a networking perspective to 200,000 members around the world, all through this one system. It also means that we are hosting a whole lot of data in the form of 7,000 or so POMS reports being entered every week, and maybe 7,000 or 8,000 visitors that are visiting chapters, and all of this information. It's a gigantic database. But in addition to that, we also are, so that's kind of like the QuickBooks portion, if you will, of BNI Connect. We also are kind of like a WordPress for BNI as well, in that we push out a bunch of websites from this system. So we have about 39 country websites out there. For example, if you are here in the United States, you're listed in 3 different places: on a country site, a region site, and your chapter site, all of which have 3 distinct URLs. So if you go to bniamerica.com, for example, and you can do a search for any member in the United States, and everybody has a profile up there on bniamerica.com. Your region also has a website. So for example, I'm here in Rhode Island. Our regional website is bniri.com. But depending on what region you're in will depend on what your regional website is. If you're logged into BNI Connect, you can always click on the regional website button in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, and that will take you to your regional website. In addition, every chapter has their own page as well. And what's great about the BNI Connect chapter pages is that they're pretty much automatically updated with content from BNI Connect. So a lot of chapters over the years have created their own, but it's really hard to keep up with it because as members join and as members leave, just trying to keep that roster straight can be a full-time job. Well, we do that for all of the chapters. But your profile is up on that page as well. As I said, we're actually at over 200,000 active members now, with another 10,000 or so executive directors and director consultants and national directors and headquarters staff and things like that. There's also a number of discussion groups. So first of all, we have QuickBooks. Then we have BNI as kind of a WordPress, if you will. But then on top of that, we also have our own kind of LinkedIn community just for BNI members here in BNI Connect. We can connect with other members. We can also have discussions with other members, and that's what we do through the groups functionality in BNI Connect. And there are hundreds and hundreds of discussions going on every single day. For the data people out there, just a couple of just quick things here where it is not a website. BNI Connect is not a website. It is a web application. Again, QuickBooks, WordPress, and LinkedIn all rolled into one. There's about 1,000 individual pages in BNI Connect that have been programmed, over 120 reports at this point. There's also a dozen programming languages. Now, a lot of people say, well, it would just be great if BNI Connect could have this one feature in it. Well, one of the things that's a little bit challenging in BNI Connect is because we're in so many countries, we have to translate BNI Connect into a lot of different languages. And as much as I wish we could just use a tool like Google Translate or something like that, we're stuck doing that all manually. And there are 14,700 individual fields, not words, fields that need to be translated. So that means change does happen a little bit slowly. So every time we add a new report, for example, or we even add a new column to a report, that has to be translated 47 times, including about a dozen different versions of English. And a couple other things, just a million lines of code and all of that other database stuff. So what makes this so cool? I've been a member, as I mentioned before, since 2002. So my whole business has grown up with BNI. I've done a lot with BNI over the years. Again, I'm still a chapter member, and I've seen my membership and BNI in general change over the last 12 years. One of the most important changes is that we really have become a global community. Now, through my role here with supporting BNI Connect, I've got to go to chapter meetings all around the world. And I'll tell you, a lot of times, I went to a chapter meeting in the Netherlands as well as in Mexico, and I don't really speak either of those languages, Spanish or Dutch. And I couldn't really understand exactly what they were saying throughout the meeting, but I could still recognize what they were doing. They were still excited about the open networking. They were still, doing the education moment. They were still doing their weekly presentations. People still got so excited when they passed a referral. This is happening in 7,000 chapters around the world, and the best part of it is, too, that with BNI Connect, I can now, really have relationships with. So let's say that I have a referral. My grandmother in Florida, her computer crashes. As much as I can try to walk her through stuff over the phone, maybe I need somebody locally in Florida to go in and help my grandmother out. Well, I have a couple of choices. I could go to Craigslist, or I could just do a Google search, or I can go to Yelp, or I can go to all these other places, but I have an inherent trust. I have credibility built up with BNI already that I know that anybody I call in BNI is likely to be a good fit because they have a membership committee. They have, the weekly meetings. They are known, liked, and trusted with all the other people in their chapter. So I always tend to turn to BNI Connect and to BNI when I have referrals as a first resource, regardless of where that may happen to be in the world. Now, there's 4 things that really enhance your membership. We are not going to get into them all today because we only have about a half hour. But those 4 major things are the availability of your profile, and we're going to talk today about how to fill out your profile and kind of some pointers for doing so. The next thing, and again, we're going to talk about this tomorrow on tomorrow's webinar, so I encourage you to register for that. We're going to talk about how to deal with the online slips and how to enter all of your information online so you can track it going forward. The groups and connecting with other people is the 3rd one, and finally visitors. And again, we have specific webinars just for those topics. So enough PowerPoint. Let's take a look at BNI Connect itself. So when you first log into BNI Connect, this is what you are going to see. You're going to see this is the home screen here in BNI Connect, and it's your My BNI business. This has all your stats and things like that. And again, when I first joined BNI, I had to beg my vice president to please supply me with all the POMS report information. Now I can get that anytime I want to just by logging into BNI Connect. And that's great, but it's not really what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about really the profile today. Now, it's really important to fill out your profile for a couple of reasons. As I said, it shows up on the public internet. All those WordPress sites out there that BNI has shows up there. It also shows up on the directory search here in BNI. So let me just show you an example. So if I click on regional website here in the upper right hand corner, that's going to take me to my regional website. So it'll take you to yours as well. If you click on whatever, it'll take you to whatever region you happen to be a part of. And most regional websites look something like this. They all have some of the same elements here. For example, along the top, you should see a thing that says find a member. And I encourage you to do a search for yourself. So if I do a search for myself and click on Jeremy Walsh, I see a bunch of partial matches here, and I also see my own record. And if I click my name here, you'll see my profile, and it has all my contact information. It has a nice headshot here, all my social media links, an ability to send a message, although it will not share my email address out here on the open internet. It also has a My Business description, which can be words, or you can even upload a video there, or rather you can embed a video. And then it has what's called your TOPS profile here at the bottom. Note that this is also available on BNIAmerica.com. So this is for everybody that's in the United States. You can go to BNIAmerica.com. On the left-hand side here, click on Find a Member. And once again, I encourage you to search for yourself. You can also look for keywords and things like that. We'll get into that in just a minute. But your same profile will show up here. And it's taking a couple of seconds longer because it is searching a much bigger database now. Instead of just a few thousand members in my region, it's searching the 80,000 or so members in the United States. And you can see it as the same profile. Now, on the inside of BNI Connect, if I wanted to search the global directory here in BNI and the entire world of BNI, I'm going to go up here in the upper right-hand corner and use this magnifying glass. And this magnifying glass is going to take me to the BNI global directory. And again, this is going to search everybody around the world in BNI. So I'm going to go ahead and do Jeremy Walsh again. So first I searched just in my area, then I searched in the United States. Now I'm searching the entire world, and we'll see there's 2 Jeremys here. One is actually a test profile of mine. So if I click on my name, it opens up a little window here, and what we'll see here is, again, my profile, and it's very similar to the one that's out there on the outside of the public portion of the internet. The difference is it has more information, like what are all the roles that I hold in BNI. It still has all my contact information. On the inside, the logged in member-to-member portion, you can share your email address if you'd like to, although you can turn that off as well. I'll show you how to do that. But there's also the bio tab where you can share your weekly presentations, for example. You can share your gains profile. If you think to your member success program, we should be doing a gains exchange before every one-to-one meeting, as well as that TOPS profile, which is what also shows up on the public side. But wait, there's more. There's also the connections. The connections is you can connect with other people, put them into your BNI address book, if you will, members and directors from around the world. So you can actually see who people are connected to and click right through to their profiles. In the members only portion, we can also share testimonials. People can leave you a testimonial here in BNI Connect, and you can display those on your logged in profile. There is a picture sharing gallery as well. The groups functionality, you can see what groups people are participating in. And finally, training history. You can see the training history. Now, compare that, by the way, to, let's look at Jeremy Walsh III here. Now, Jeremy Walsh III hasn't gotten around to putting in his profile yet. Shame on Jeremy. And you can see here that there is very little, if any, information that's being shared. So even if I had business for this other Jeremy, I couldn't even call him because there's no phone number being shared because it hasn't been allowed to be shared with non-connections yet. There's nothing at all in the bio. There's no connections. There's no testimonial. So all of this, what happens is that every single day, people are looking to connect and pass business to other BNI members around the world. If they come across a profile like this, they're just going to move on to the next person. Dr. Meisner said once that, he can't guarantee that you'll get any more business in BNI Connect simply by filling out your profile. However, he can guarantee you that if you don't fill out your profile, you will never get any business. And it really only takes a couple of minutes. So let's take a look. How do we fill out our profile? So if you happen to be on your profile here, just click on Update Profile. However, if not, let's go back to the home page, because that's more than likely where you'll be at the time. And right on the home page here, you should see right to the right of the your picture here, there's a Update Profile My BNI page. You can also, from any page in BNI Connect, up at the top, there's an options drop down and it has My Account. So any of those things will take you to the same place, which is the back end portion of your profile. Now, once we get there, very similar to how it was set up on the directory page, you'll see that it's broken into tabs here along the top. We have our main profile tab, we have our user profile tab, we have our contact details, we have our account settings, your bio tab. If you happen to be a director consultant, you'll have the director consultant tab. And finally, you'll have the training history. So let's take a look at each of those tabs and see what we can do to update all those. All right, this first tab is the main profile tab. Now, there's not a whole lot that you're going to be able to change on this page because it's really just telling you some information about your account and your membership. For example, it does have my name and my company name. Those again, you may have to click on a request change button in order to change those. And the reason for that is really they need to reflect what is on the paper application, because essentially that application is really a contract, if you will, between your chapter and you, that you're going to be representing a certain profession within that group. So that's why the name, the company name, the industry, classification, and chapter, all of that stuff is read only. It's just there for your review. Now, if you do see something out of line with that, or you don't think it's saying the right industry or classification, just get in touch with your leadership team. Get in touch with your vice president, your membership committee, or if you need to, get in touch with your director consultant or your regional office. They can certainly help you out correcting that if there is something wrong with it. Where we're going to really start to get into it is down here at the bottom of the page. You see you have the My Business and the keywords. Now, the My Business description, the way I look at the My Business description, now most people just have this just as text, and that's perfectly fine. And if you're going to write it out, really what you want to use here is think about open networking at your chapter meeting. So every week when you go to your BNI meeting, you have that 15 minutes at the beginning of the meeting where you're walking around, you're talking to people, and most importantly, if there is a visitor at that meeting, you're going to go up and you're going to introduce yourself to that visitor and hopefully find out more about what they do and tell them a little bit more about what you do. That is essentially that little short 15 to 30 second elevator pitch. That's really what you want to be putting into the My Business description. Now, again, this is the web, so people are going through these pretty fast. You don't want to write a book, there's a short novel up here. Keep it to about 1 to 2 paragraphs with a couple of sentences in each paragraph. You can format this using HTML code. It is a little bit more advanced, but you can do that as well. And what's most important here is that you can embed a video. So one great approach to this is to take a video of yourself. Either you can just do it right on your cell phone even, or get somebody more professionally to take a video of you. All you need to do is upload it to a site like YouTube or Vimeo. They will give you an embed code that you can use in order to put that into the My Business description. Now you have to have at least one line of text there, so you can see here I put connect with me, and then I put what they gave me right from the YouTube site. And if you're curious how to do that, just drop a question in, and at the end of today's webinar, I will go and I'll show you exactly how to go get the YouTube code and put it in there. It's a little bit more advanced, but happy to show that to you. Now the next thing down here is the keywords. Now the keywords are really, really important because that's how people find you when they don't know your name. And again, that's important because most of the time when we're searching in the global directory, or if we're searching out there on any of the regional sites, or if we're searching on the the national site, people are going to be looking for computer consultants in Rhode Island, or they're going to be looking for a painter in Pennsylvania, or a financial advisor in Florida. Whatever it might be that they're looking for. More than likely they're not going to know your name. They're just going to know what they're looking for and possibly a town or a state. That's what you want to be putting in the keywords. Think of it as this is really your search engine optimization as far as the search goes in BNI Connect. Couple of hints, obviously you're going to put things that people might be searching for within your profession. You do want to be careful. You don't want to overstep your bounds on what you're putting in there. For example, if you're in the chapter as a real estate attorney, you probably don't want to put in, well, family law and wills and trusts and litigation and drunk driving and all of those other categories, because that may actually damage your credibility with other people in the chapter that see that. You may also want to consider putting in locations or places. BNI Connect is a database search, so unlike Google and Bing and Yahoo and all these big guys that have billions of dollars to spend on search algorithms, BNI Connect, while it does have its algorithms, is a little bit more simpler. It's searching direct things in the database. So that means that, for example, here in Rhode Island, which is a really small state, a lot of us do business over the borders in Massachusetts and Connecticut. So I make sure I put in Massachusetts and Connecticut, so that way if people are looking for computer help in Connecticut, my name will appear as part of that list. It also works in really large states where you may only want to be in certain geographic areas with, let's just say California. I mean, San Francisco all the way up in the northern part of the state and San Diego down in the southern part of the state are pretty far away from each other, and it's not typical that somebody's going to do business in both of those areas. But let's say that you are in San Diego or LA, you may want to put some of the names of the towns or counties surrounding that so that people are searching and finding things for more than where the town that your office is listed in. Now if you make any changes, click the update button. Just about everything updates immediately. Keywords do take about a half hour to update the cache. Now the second tab here is the user profile tab. It's pretty straightforward. All you have to do is you can change your username anytime you want to. You can change your password. The memorable question and answer, that's really the challenge. If you ever forget your password and you need to log in again to BNI Connect, they're going to ask you your question and you need to provide the appropriate answer. If you can do that, it will allow you to reset your password. So make sure that you have a good question and answer in there, and keep in mind that the answer is case and space sensitive. So make sure you have the right combination of capitals and lowercase. As I did mention, BNI Connect is, it's got about 47 different languages here. Be sure to choose your appropriate version of either English or Spanish or French or whatever language you're most comfortable with. Same thing with the time zone. Uploading a picture is fairly straightforward. If I wanted to change my company logo, for example, I could click on Change Company Logo, and I'm going to go and hit this magnifying glass to go and browse a picture. So let's go and find a new logo here. And this time, let's say I want to use the darker logo here. I'm going to go ahead and save that. I don't need to crop it. And now my profile will have that new logo on it. As always, if I make any changes, I'm going to be sure to click the Update button. Now the next tab here. So the most important thing on this tab, the most important thing is this top one here that says Show Me on the BNI public websites. If this is checked, people will be able to search for you. So if I uncheck this, that means that if somebody goes to bniri.com or bniamerica.com, they will not be able to find me. I won't be listed on the roster of my chapter on those public sites. Basically, you are hidden from the public. Now, in some cases, maybe you are a financial advisor, Edward Jones or Wells Fargo or something like that, and maybe a corporate policy that says that you must be hidden from the public sites, in which case, please go ahead and uncheck this box. For most other people that want to be found on the internet for our services, make sure that there is a check in that box. Once there's a check in that box, all of these other checks, you can choose which of your other details you'd like to share with the public. Again, this all has to do with the public website. Do you want to share your phone number and your mobile number? Now, we will not share your email address on the public site. However, it does give you that send message option, so you can turn that on or off. You can also put in a bunch of different social media addresses. Now, keep in mind is that this label doesn't really show up anywhere, but it'll allow you to put in, let's say, one Facebook, one LinkedIn. But for example, I don't have a Sun Tzu account. However, I have a couple of Facebook accounts, so I just put it in here under that one. Finally, at the bottom of this page, you can enter your business address. Now there's two addresses. There's the main address and the billing address. The main address is usually the one that you're going to have on your profile. It's also the one that the database uses when it's doing searches for you and things like that. Now some people work out of their home and you may not want your home address showing up out there on the internet or even on the inside of BNI Connect. If that's the case, what we say is to just take out and put in, by appointments only. And that way it's still visible and you're still searched by your town and your state and everything, but it gives you a little bit more privacy. Now the billing address is what your office will use to get in touch with you if they need to send you something. Let's say they want to send you a Christmas card. That's the address that they're going to use. So please do be sure to have a P.O. box or a real address in this one. This next tab has to do with the settings. So this is the account settings. Now, the most important thing on this page is right here at the top, and that's the member-to-member settings. So when somebody uses this magnifying glass, this is going to be what information will you share with them immediately before they become a connection. So you can choose which of those tabs, your bio tab, your connections, testimonials, picture gallery, whether or not you would like to share your email address and your contact details. Do you want to share that stuff with everybody? So as soon as they find you, they'll be able to know that about you. Do you want to share it with just your connections? So you're going to wait for somebody to send you a connection request and respond to that before you're sharing details. Or are you never going to share that information? My personal preference here is to, just share everything with everybody. That may be a little too much for you. If so, what I highly recommend is at the very least, you want to be sharing your contact details with everybody so that if somebody does find you, at least your phone number will be shared with them. They can call you and say, hey, do you want to take this job? I got a referral for somebody in your profession. The rest of this has to do with really email preferences. If you join any of the BNI Connect groups, how often would you like to be notified that there's new conversations or new topics? And then the bottom is with the social media side of things, would you like that to also go to your email address? And if so, you can choose to get notified outside of BNI Connect for those particular things. Now, referrals and notices from your office, those will always come to your regular email address anyway. This is just having to do with the social media stuff. Now the next tab is all of the bio information. This tab, everything up to this point is pretty straightforward. It's going to take you about 2 minutes. This particular tab, though, will take you a little while. There's just a lot of typing to do in here. But the beauty of this is it's kind of a set it and forget it. For anybody that's been in BNI before or has been in BNI for a while, you'll know that before your feature presentation, your 10-minute presentation at your chapter, your secretary-treasurer is going to chase you down for a bio. Now, that bio that they're chasing you down for is this exact bio here: years in business, previous job, spouse, children, pets, hobbies. All of that is the exact same form that they will be asking for before your 10-minute presentation. So do yourself a favor and fill it out here. That will save you some time, and your secretary-treasurer can just print it out as opposed to chasing you down. Now the next couple of things are weekly presentations. Keep in mind these weekly presentations are the only other place in the database that will allow you to put HTML formatting, which means you can also embed a video of you giving a 60-second presentation in here as well. Now, why would you bother putting a weekly presentation in? Well, as I mentioned before, there's about 200,000 members in BNI and in BNI Connect. Now, I can almost guarantee you that 199,950 of them will probably never be at your BNI meeting to hear you give a live weekly presentation. However, if you have something interesting in there, they may just read it, or they may watch your short video that you've embedded in there. The GAINS profile, of course, GAINS is an acronym. It stands for Goals, Accomplishments, Interests, Networks, and Skills. Do yourself a favor and fill that out as well. That is a great tool for one-to-ones, and before you have a one-to-one with somebody, if you can do that GAINS exchange, you send them a copy of your GAINS profile, they send a copy to you of their GAINS profile, it will really help to take that one-to-one right to the next level. It kicks it up a whole notch, allows you to get deeper into your conversations right from the get-go. And finally, you have the TOPS profile. Now, the TOPS profile, if you have limited time, you only have a couple of minutes today or tomorrow to get this done, do the TOPS profile first. And the reason I say to do the TOPS profile first is because that profile is the one that shows up on the public website. So out there on, for me, BNIRI.com or on BNIAmerica.com, this is going to show up on all of those public sites, so get that one done first if you can. And of course, if you make any changes, click that update button at the bottom. Now, if you happen to be a director, you can keep some separate information. The only place this shows up is on the Contact Us page on the for the regional office on the regional website. And finally, you have your training history. If you have taken training before and it's not showing up there, for example, the Member Success Program, just let your regional office know and they should be able to help you out with that and manually update that for you. All right, and that, my friends, is your profile. You can also take a sneak peek of your profile by scrolling down to the bottom into the footer area here and click the link that says Profile. And that will take you to your profile. All right, we are at the bottom of the hour. We're about 3 minutes past the bottom of the hour. For those of you that do need to go right away, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here and spending a little bit of time with me today. For those of you that can stick around for a couple of more minutes, I do want to open this up to questions. Does anybody have any questions at all? Keep in mind that the only silly question is the unasked question. I'll be happy to answer any questions at all about BNI Connect, whether it's about the profiles or anything else in BNI Connect. Just please go ahead and ask those questions. Reminder, this is being recorded. We will put the whole thing up on our YouTube channel as well on the support site. Best way to get there, if you click on the question mark in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect, so up here, you see this question mark? This question mark takes you to our support site. And here on the support site, there's a whole bunch of stuff. You can go see chapter training and documentation. And under here, we have the live and recorded webinars. So pretty soon, I will have a starred topic here. It says BNI Connect recorded webinars for June of 2016. This will be here, be up there as soon as I can get them uploaded. Now, of course, this is part of a series of webinars. I very much would love it, and as a matter of fact, it would be a good referral for me if you would like to join any of the additional webinars this month. As you can see, tomorrow we're going to go into the whole online slips portion of things, and then on Wednesday we're going to talk about connecting with other members. Next Tuesday we'll talk about the member tools and reports, and we'll round out this particular series on Wednesday of next week with inviting and registering visitors. All right, so let's see what we got here. We do have a couple of questions. Brad says, how do we get logged in at first? All right, so the easiest way is, Brad, I'm going to open up another window here. This just happens to be Internet Explorer since I'm not logged in there. So if you go to bniconnect.com, you'll get to the sign-in page. If you don't have a username and password yet, click this down here that says New to BNI Connect, Register Now. It'll just ask you for your email address, and it will ask you for this CAPTCHA code. It will then send you a link that allows you to create a new account in BNI Connect. If you're struggling with that, if that doesn't work, then just shoot us an email, support@bniconnect.com, or if you go to support.bniconnect.com, click on Submit a Request, and that will allow you to submit a help ticket, and we will get to that right away and help you get logged into BNI Connect. Just make sure you include your email address, what chapter you're in, and what state or region you're in. That will be very, very helpful. Okay? Does that help, Brad? Roberto says, thank you. Is there a size regulation for the picture and or logo? Yes, they can't be any bigger than 5 megabytes in size. So if you try to upload something larger than 5 megabytes, it will fail to be uploaded. I know there's some exact dimensions for the ideal size. I do not know those off the top of my head for what the exact pixel width and stuff like that is. I apologize for that. But does that help, Roberto? All right, Stephanie says, where was it that we have to go to make sure that we are visible? So from any page, click on Options, My Account, or of course from the home page, just get back there. So back from the home page, you can click on Update Profile My BNI page here. Or again, go to Options, My Account. Both of those things will take you to the same place. All right, and then on this third tab here, the Contact tab, it says Show Me on BNI Public Websites. Make sure there's a check there. And Vineet, you had a question here that says, I don't have the Show Me on National Websites. That actually, it's because I'm a national administrator for the United States. That should be really, do I want to be listed on the contact page for the national administrators? So that's slightly different. You'll only get that, you will be shown on your national site. All of these settings really govern both. So does that help, Vineet? So in other words, it's okay that you don't have that. All right, so let's see. Rob and Betty both ask, please show us how to get the embed code for a YouTube video. All right, so again, the embed code goes either in My Business or it can go in either of the commercials, so either of the weekly presentations. Now you get that. Easiest way is I'm going to open up another window here. So I'm going to go to youtube.com, and the first thing to do is if you don't have an account, just create an account. Up here on, I happen to use YouTube. Upload your video. So that's really the first thing to do. And then after you've uploaded the video, go into the video. All right, so what you're going to see here is basically all the descriptions and everything. And what's there is a share link. So I'm going to click that. Now, I don't want this one. This is just a link. So you can use this if you want to, but that means people need to click on it in order to go and see the video. What you want to do is you want to actually take that video and stick it right into the page. And we do that by using the second option here called the Embed Code. And really all you have to do is right-click this and choose copy and then paste it into that field. Now, if you'd like to get a little bit more advanced, like if this particular video here is really wide, it's 420 pixels wide. We want to keep this down around 350, 300, somewhere in that range. So I'm going to go ahead and click Show More. And I'm going to change the size of this to, let's say, 300. And it will automatically update the code up here. And I can then just copy and paste this code right into this My BNI Business. I'm going to go ahead and click Update. Now if I go to my profile, this new video right here, BNI Connect Educational Moment, should already be in here. All right, does that help Betty and Rob? Excellent. All right, now Scott says, do we get credit for today's? So the way that you get credit, make sure that you submit a CEU. We'll get into this more tomorrow, but you absolutely go back to your home page and make sure you submit a CEU class for today's presentation. So give yourself 1 credit for today. Unfortunately, because of the way that we do attendance on this particular segment, because we're doing this through GoToMeeting, it won't appear on your profile. If you would like it to, just shoot me an email, Jeremy at support at bniconnect.com, support at bniconnect.com, and I will be happy to add it for you. All right, does that help, Scott? Kelly says, what do we put for registered tax office and VAT reference number? As you can see in mine, in the United States here, we can leave that completely and totally blank. This is mostly for some other countries that that requires this as part of their business profile. For example, VAT, by the way, it stands for Value Added Tax. Essentially, that's the same as our employer ID here in the United States, or things like that. So you can just leave those both blank. All right. And I think in Australia, the registered tax office is mandatory. Roberto says, it shows me that I need to crop it. I don't see where to crop it to. Again, I don't have the exact dimensions for you. If you shoot me an email, I can get those dimensions over to you. Let me see if I have it on the support site. So I'm going to, if you ever have any questions, just click on the question mark in the upper right-hand corner, by the way. And let's see. Dimensions for logo. Let's see if I have it on either of these. Yeah, I don't think he has that in his help article there. Let me just double check this one. Yep, I have them somewhere, to be honest with you, and I just don't know exactly what the ideal dimensions are, but I do have that somewhere. Roberto, one thing with the JPEGs, if it has a clear background, a lot of times, what's the word I'm looking for? Not clear background, but basically a see-through background on it. A lot of times it won't take it. So what you can do is just resave that as a PNG file. So just resave that as a PNG, portable network graphic, and then that should definitely upload from there because it doesn't allow for that transparency. Betty says the video that we've embedded, where does it show? It shows on both the profile here with the magnifying glass as well as your profile on the regional office, the regional website. So if I go to find a member and I do a search for myself here, so it shows here and it shows on the inside of BNI Connect on your profile there. All right, so it shows on this as well. All right, does that answer your question? All right, Cameron has a question. An other than profile question. Excellent. As I said, I'll answer questions about anything in BNI Connect. This is what I do all day, every day, is I answer questions about BNI Connect. So I'm just as happy to do this live with you than to do it via email. So feel free to ask as many questions as you'd like. Is there a way to review the visitor invitations and registrations I have entered in BNI Connect? So unfortunately, no. The invitations that you send out, by the way, for anybody that wants to know what we're talking about, there's a way to invite visitors. I will cover this in our visitor webinar as well, but in case you can't make that, let me teach you a new trick today. Go to Operations, and under the Operations menu, you should see a thing that says Create Email. And under Create Email, you click on Email Visitor Invitation. This is a great way to invite somebody to your chapter. So I'm just going to go ahead and just put, John Smith in here from Smith Co. And I'm going to use my own email address. I just want to show you guys what this looks like. This is a test. And that's going to appear as the first line. So I just sent that to myself, and this, oh, you know what? It just sent one for Denmark. I happen to be in Denmark right now. Oops. Let me change that over to the United States. Sorry about that. Let me do that one more time. So email a visitor invitation. John Smith from Smith Co. And my email address. Oops. And click send. So what this does is it just takes that information that I just put in, puts it into a template, and immediately sends that out. Now, there is no tracking of that in any way. All it does is it just sends out the email, and this is the email that comes through. You can see it says test, test, test at the top. But then it's a very well put together email. How will you grow your business in 2016? It then puts all the information about your chapter and gives them the ability to RSVP. Now, this particular email we cannot track. It just sends it out, and that's it. And again, if you want to see what this looks like or analyze it, just send one to yourself the way I just did. However, once somebody does register and they click that RSVP button, there is a report for that. So if I go to the chapter report, so report chapter, all the way at the bottom, there is a visitor registration report. And here you can run a report for all of the visitors that are registered. You can go back in time if you want to. You can go forward in time if you have a Visitors Day coming up or something like that. And this will show me all of the visitors that are registered for that chapter and who invited them. So that's how you can track the ones that you've registered in BNI Connect. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question, Cameron? Rob says, does BNI Connect show other BNI training classes and business courses one can take, or is that on another site? So it's in both. So if you go back home, click on the My Network link here, and what you'll see down here at the bottom, you see it says Events. If I click on More under Events, that will show you all of the training courses that are available in your area. So I happen to be, because of my national role, I get everything from the United States, but here is all of the things that I can sign up for example, a member success program in Orange County or a regional roundtable, ambassador meetings, all sorts of stuff is listed here. This is in a list view. If you'd like a calendar view, for that, go to your regional website and click on the events calendar. And the events calendar, for example, this is for Rhode Island and Massachusetts here. That'll show me all of the events that are upcoming for training. So member success programs, and here's all the BNI Connect webinars. So that is all up here in your regional web calendar. Does that answer your question, Rob? Excellent. As I mentioned, a good referral for me is to please let people know about these webinars. So if there's other new members in your chapter especially, or people that you that maybe have been afraid to use BNI Connect before, please have them come and join us for one of these webinars. Rob has another question. Are we supposed to register our visitors who come, or does the chapter do that? Ideally, the visitor registers themselves. So when you send a visitor invitation to them, they'll register themselves for the meeting. If they don't want to register or can't register, you can register for them either by going to the chapter website or under the operations menu. Worst case scenario, it would be the visitor host that marks them as having attended or enters their information afterwards. But again, I'll go into some deep detail on that in the visitors webinar. All right. Cameron says that it would be absolutely great if BNI Connect did record the actual data from those invitations. I agree with you, Cameron. I would love it. It's really expensive to program, I'll tell you that much. And we just have other priorities right now. For example, we're hoping by the end of the year to be in the early phases of rolling out a mobile app, an official BNI mobile app for BNI Connect. So keep your eyes open for that. And I'm glad that you learned about the registration report. That's great. Rob says, thanks, great presentation, very helpful. So thank you, Rob. All right, so do we have any other questions? We're about 10 minutes to the top of the hour. As I said, I'm happy to stay here all afternoon if you'd like, but that was the last question that I had. Cameron says he's glad that the development of BNI Connect is disciplined and follows appropriate priorities. Thank you. I think you may be one of the very few, or if not the first person I've ever heard say that out loud. So thank you, Cameron. Can't wait to share that with the project manager. I think he'd appreciate that you said that. All right, and that was the last question, comment, concern, kudos. Is there anything else that anybody would like to share? I'd be happy to answer that question or share that feedback now. Going once. Going twice. All right. Going to say goodbye and thank you guys so very much for being here with me today. I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Please do remember, a good referral for me is to share these webinars and the recordings with your other chapter members. And in the meantime, happy connecting.